Hello friends, we'll be understanding certain details about one royalty account problem right now whereby lessee will be a part of this transaction. That means all the transactions are supposed to be recorded as per the books of the lessee. So in the previous example, or rather in the previous statement or in the previous video, we have understood that how a lessee account is supposed to be prepared, how the ledger accounts are supposed to be prepared. Right now, we'll be understanding how the journal entries are supposed to be made for one specific illustration here. So let's read it out. So the question has been mentioned here. Now, the parties to the contract are SK Company Limited and Messrs. Bihari Brothers. SK Company Limited is the lessee and Bihari Brothers is the lessor here. SK Company Limited took a lease of a coal field for 25 years starting from 1st of April 2007. The royalty was discussed at 25 per ton. Dead rent which was mentioned here was 2,20,000 per year. Recouping power of short working was only for the first 5 years. Output for the first 5 years was given to us starting from 2008, 2000 ton, 2009, 3,600 ton, 2010, 9,000 ton, 2011, 15,000 ton, and 2012, 20,000 ton. We are supposed to pass the journal entries for all the 5 years in the books of lessee. So let's start with the calculation first. So I've mentioned the columns here for your reference. Let's mention the output and the other details that are already available with us. So the output has been mentioned. Now it's time to figure out the royalty here. So the royalty for the first year is 50,000. That means that is the amount which we are supposed to receive. Ideally, the minimum rent is also a part of it. So let's mention that. So now it's time to figure out what is the difference between the minimum rent and the accountancy, or rather we can talk about royalty accounts, and the difference between them will be the short working allowable. So here the short working that is allowed is 1,70,000. Nothing can be recouped, nothing is irrecoverable. That's the reason amount payable to the landlord is 2,20,000. Let's go on to the second one. In the second year, the royalty is 90,000. So let's figure out the difference now. So the short working allowed in the second year is 1,30,000. So currently total of short working that we have here is of 3 lakh rupees. Now let's go on to the third year. So 2,25,000 is the amount that we have received as royalty, out of which 2,20,000 will go as minimum rent. That means the balance pending 5,000 can be adjusted against the 3 lakh balance. Let's go on to the next year. So the royalty is 3,75,000. That means dead rent will be subtracted from this. Let's figure out how much is the balance after subtracting 2,20,000 from this. That means 1,55,000 is something that we can adjust here. Now let's come to the fifth and the last year. So the total royalty for the last year is 5 lakh. That means if 2,20,000 is subtracted, 2,80,000 is left with us. Now if you see, 1,55,000 plus 5,000 gives you 1,60,000. To complete 3 lakhs, we need another 1,40,000. That means we already have 2,80,000 additional after subtracting the minimum rent. Out of 2,80,000, if we give out 1,40,000, all the short working will be settled off and still 1,40,000 additional will be left. So that 1,40,000 plus 2,20,000 of dead rent gives you a total of 3,60,000, and that is the amount that is supposed to be payable to the landlord. So we've completed all the calculations. Now let's go on to the working, or rather the journal entry. So for 2012, we are passing the entries now. So for 2008, the entries that we are passing here is royalty account debit, short working account debit to Messrs. Bihari Brothers, who is the landlord here. So 50,000 is the royalty, 1,70,000 is the short working, and 2,20,000 is the amount payable. Let's transfer this, rather let's receive it and then transfer it to PNL. So the next entry that we have passed here is the amount paid to the landlord. Now, the last entry that we have passed for the year 2008 is transfer of royalty to profit and loss account. That means profit and loss account debit to royalty account, which we have mentioned here. With this, 2008 entries has been completed. Let's hop on to 2009. So again, for 2009, we'll have certain similar entries itself because it is matching to 2008. So let's point out those. So the entry that we have passed here is the first entry, that means amount due, royalty account due, short working account due to the specific Mrs. Bihari Brothers account. Next entry that we have passed here is the payment that we have made. That means 2,20,000 payment. So Mrs. Bihari Brothers account debit to bank account. And the third entry refers to the profit and loss transfer. That means P&L account debit to royalty account with amount of 90,000 of royalty here. With this, 2009 entries are done. Let's move on to 2010 entries now. Now for the year 2010, the first entry will be royalty account debit to Messrs. Bihari Brothers, two short working accounts, because there is no short working that has happened here. That is only the difference between the actual royalty and the minimum rent due. Now the next entry will refer to the payment made. So the entry is Messrs. Bihari account, or rather Messrs. Bihari Brothers account debit to bank account. Now the third entry here will be transfer of this specific short working, or rather the royalty to profit and loss account. Now we'll be transferring the royalty to profit and loss account, the complete amount of 2,25,000. With this, 2010 is also done. So next move to 2011. Again here all the entries will be similar. So let's pass it. So the entry that we have passed here, that is the first entry, royalty account debit 3,75,000, to Messrs. Bihari account 2,20,000, and to short workings account credit side 1,55,000. This is the first entry of due. Next, the payment made to Bihari, that means to Messrs. Bihari account debit to bank account 2,20,000, and the third one is transfer of royalty to profit and loss account, that is profit and loss account debit to royalty account, that means 3,75,000. So year 2011 is also completed. So let's go on to the last year, that is 2012. Now again for the last year, we'll pass the similar entries. Let's pass it out. So the entry first that we have passed here is royalty account debit to Bihari Brothers to short working. Bihari Brothers have been credited with 3,60,000, and short working final settlement has been 1,40,000, and that is the similar credit which we see, or rather a similar debit that we see in the royalty account together of 5 lakh here. Now the second entry is that will be paying this amount to Bihari Brothers. So the next entry that we have passed here is Messrs. Bihari Brothers account debit 3,60,000 to bank account 3,60,000. This refers that we have made the payment of 3,60,000 here. Now this 3,60,000 is inclusive of the dead rent and the additional royalty here. So the last entry that we have made here is profit and loss account debit to royalties account, that is transferring of royalty to profit and loss account amounting to rupees 5 lakh. And this marks the closure of this specific illustration where we have transferred all the entries with the calculation done to the lessee's account with all the journal entries in it. So this is how we solved examples related to lessee. So thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with Ekeeda and keep subscribing to Ekeeda.